Podcast, episode 598.
I used to have a teacher that would always say, hay is for horses.
Yeah, they love that
Every
shit.
time I said, they love that stuff.
Was that on my... What is this beeping? Is that in my house or yours?
I think it might be mine, but it's maybe from a coffee machine that I put on hours ago.
Well, it's ready.
It's ready. There's always something going on over here. There's also something going on with your awesome shirt. Can we just talk about who the heck is on your t-shirt? Oh my God, the Village people! Susie's wearing the coolest, very vintage shirt.
Very vintage, yeah.
That is awesome.
Thank you, Sarah.
A+.
Thank you. Thank you so much. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
I don't know how I'm ever going to, follow the amazing episode that you did on Monday.
Oh.
That was so
you
good.
Can do it.
No.
Susie, you're the best. You're making me feel so great right now.
It was such a good episode. Didn't you guys learn so much about infrasound?
There were so many fun things and exciting things to share. So I am now, you know what's fun is it, when you learn a couple exciting facts, it wets your whistle for learning more knowledge. And now I'm thirsty for more. Yeah. And so now I'm well, what else can I learn? And once again, I'm going to go back to our book club pick, because our book club pick also talks about communicating through feeling
vibrations.
Sound. Yes. And it's so I'm just excited to learn, and glad you guys are all
written that
learning.
Book.
Oh, well, if you read it, I couldn't have. I don't even know half the math in there, but they do a good job explaining it. So
Sarah just speaks about it from lived experience.
Yeah.
Just feeling the vibrations.
Feeling good vibrations.
Okay, so I have a story.
Yes.
This is bonkers. Okay. Have I mentioned on here that Adam snores? I don't think I have.
Actually, no.
No.
I did not know that fact about him.
This is a new development. I don't know if he put on a couple pounds over COVID or what, and that's the tipping. I don't know, the tipping point, because they say
because we shared a hotel room, all of us.
Did we?
I remember in Nashville.
No. Oh my God! I forgot you were in.
Yeah, you and Adam and Lincoln in one bed and me in the other bed.
Yeah, he did not snore then.
I didn't hear him snore once.
No, this is post-COVID. I don't know. Maybe it's from COVID. He had one of those maybe. I don't think he ever had it, but if he did, it was one of those ones that's asymptomatic. But maybe the symptom is eternal snoring.
Oh, that's
okay.
Interesting.
So anyway, he got one of those machines that
a sleep apnea machine.
Yeah, I made him. I was like, this is untenable. I can't live this.
This is hilarious. Why did you not already take photos and send me this? Are we not even friends?
It's probably because I don't think it's funny. I'm mad about it.
Oh, my God. Tell me more.
Okay, so it's not the one with the full mask. It's just the nose oxygen.
Which is funnier.
It's oxygen tubes that go up the nose. Okay.
Sexy.
Anywho, but it's kind of noisy and it's disruptive in its own way. So it's do I want to use it or not?
That's a good point.
Yeah. So it's
does the sleep apnea machine make more noise than the snoring husband?
And I'm not even sure what he thinks is better sleep. If he thinks it's better when he's snoring or if he thinks it's better with the machine. I don't know. But sometimes he doesn't like to use it. So the other night he did not use it. And we went to sleep, and then I am awoken from a dead sleep to him go out of bed, choking out, I can't breathe. But I'm half asleep, so I'm not thinking this is a sleep apnea problem. I'm thinking he's choking to death. My husband is dying before my eyes. So I get up bull at a gate, I run over and I wrap my arms around him and start performing the Heimlich maneuver to such an extent that he is lifted off the ground.
Oh,
it's
my gosh.
When a mom lifts a car.
Yeah, yes. I was just going to say, do you have crazy mom gorilla strength right now? I think you do. Like my
guess
loved one is
so.
dying. All of a sudden, I'm the strongest woman alive.
Yes. So I'm like doing the Heimlich maneuver. What am I trying to get out? I don't know.
Right.
But then he's like, stop. He's like, I think it was sleep apnea. And he's all of a sudden fine. And I'm furious. Because
that's what sleep apnea is.
This is not acceptable.
Susie does not accept her husband's sleep condition.
Because
interesting.
They should not feel, if they feel like they're dying, it's so much so that I have to perform the Heimlich.
Okay. We need to take a look at his tonsils. Dr. Sarah is here.
Do you think he needs a tonsillectomy?
Yes. Has he had one? Get Adam in here. Adam!
Okay, maybe that's what I'll tell him
Susie,
to do.
Not to personalize this, but I would stop breathing in the middle of the night when I was little, and I would all of a sudden wake up and go,
And you thought you were dying.
No, I was 7. I didn't know anything. My mom thought I was dying because she was like, oh my God, my baby stopped breathing in the middle of the night, took me to the hospital, and they were like, oh yeah, we have to do a full appendectomy, tonsillectomy and appendectomy, and they took everything out. And
you
now
don't have an appendix either?
No, not appendectomy. I don't know why I said that. Tonsillectomy, and there's something else that goes with it. It's not appendix. That's appendicitis. You're right. It's something. Oh my God.
This seems
that's
extraneous.
Hilarious. No, I mixed the two up. What is it? Tonsillectomy and
what else can they take out?
There's something else around there that say
in your throat region?
Yeah. I don't know what it's called, but yeah.
They took out parts of your body and then
adenoidectomy. My adenoids.
Okay. That's
okay. They start
similar.
with the same letter.
Yeah,
they're
actually
very
similar.
close. Okay. Adenoidectomy and like whatever. It's like empty back there.
And then problem solved?
Problem solved.
Okay, I'm going to tell him.
And does he often get ear infections?
Not that I know of, but is that maybe that's more for kids?
Sometimes because ear, nose, and throat are all kind of connected. So if he gets like like a sore throat often, stuff like that, then they're usually related.
Don't you feel like though?
Have him go to the doctor for that. What if I die? That's like how you diagnose skin cancer. What if I like had? I've diagnosed multiple people with a what's the nose one? Deviated septum.
Oh, deviated septum.
Yep.
And tonsillitis,
which
or
my
something.
ex-husband got surgery for after we got divorced, so I couldn't say I told you so.
Well,
is that funny or what? Okay, back to Adam.
I just feel like, okay, let's say it's just the sleep apnea standard issue, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't understand it because you know how it'll be like why would it only mostly happen in men? I mean, some women, but mostly men. Why? Physiologically, would that be the case?
Adam's apple?
Really?
And his name's Adam.
His apple! His apple is totally in the way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think what is in your throat that they have extra. I don't know what, this is Sarah's got a theory. Don't.
Right? Like, we would need to check with trans women and be like, after they got their Adam's apple.
Did snoring?
Yeah.
Was there a change? This is a study.
This is a study. Okay. At any rate, I just feel
we're basically solving
everything.
All the world's problems on this show.
I'll tell you what, though. I mean, I know he was the one that experienced a near-death situation, but it truly felt like I did. I was like...
I bet.
Because for me, my whole
the come down
world
from
was
that must
changing.
have been awful.
I thought, this is it. He's dead. I'm a widow. In like 2 minutes that it took.
Like, you know how we talked about your life flashing before your eyes? Like, it didn't flash before your eyes when you actually were going to die, but then when you...
Yeah, my new life flashed before my eyes. I was like, well, I'm in mourning now. Okay, but like...
I felt the same thing when my mom had her accident. I was like, okay,
that's true.
That's us. We're going to be that old lady and that daughter.
I know, like easy come, easy go. Okay.
There you go. That's it. We're going to be probably on an episode of Hoarders in the future. There you go, people.
The silver lining, though, was knowing, because we had just talked, you and I, about our reactions in survival moments, and I was afraid I would freeze. I did not.
You jumped to action.
I was ready to roll when it was his emergency, so that's good at least.
Well, this is great. If I ever have a choking incident, I would like to be near you.
For real, he keeps talking about it. He's like, you lifted me right off the ground. Like you had the strength.
I would love to hear Adam's side
yeah,
of the story
right.
too. His
I'll have
experience.
to ask him
All of a sudden, in the middle of nowhere, like what does he remember from this?
Yeah. I mean, he he woke up quickly, but for a moment, he really thought he was choking to death. I'll tell you what I won't ever choke on.
What?
Best segue ever.
Yeah, can't wait for that.
Have you tried the Catalina Crunch snacks yet?
No, I haven't.
You got to order them because...
You know what?
What?
I was having stuff go to my brother's house.
He stole them. Sarah.
He did give me a rundown of the snacks he went through recently when he smoked a little bit of the devil's lettuce.
Devil's lettuce.
This could very well have been in that mix.
Okay, well, try again because, Catalina Crunch makes great cereal. I told you about the cinnamon toast kind that I highly recommend. It's very nice.
Definitely ate it.
But I'm more of a savory kind of gal. And so I saw that they made snacks, and I was like, okay, let me try them. Keto friendly. Let's see what these are all about. But I'm very skeptical because I'm a snack connoisseur.
Yes, you are.
And
she has her balcony hour.
Yes.
Where
I thought these are going to be garbage.
Yeah.
They are so good.
Ooh.
It is a mix. It's like a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Party mix.
Yeah, it's a party mix. And it is 10 out of 10.
Oh. Susie
I'm not
approved.
kidding. Susie approved. Again, keto friendly. Okay. The cereal, 11 grams of plant-based protein, 9 grams of fiber. That's great. I'm sorry, but I'm sticking with the selling point of the snacks because I'm in it for the taste. I don't care if it's
for
healthy.
the protein and the fiber, too.
Excellent. Just go to CatalinaCrunch.com/braincandy for 15% off your first order plus free shipping. That's CatalinaCrunch.com/braincandy. Not sure which flavor to start with? Try a variety pack and check out the delicious cookies and snack mixes. Hello. While you're at it, again, that's CatalinaCrunch.com/braincandy for 15% off your first order plus free shipping. It is now my go-to nightstand snack.
Cookies. And I bet they have protein in those, too.
Go for those because you have a little bit more of a sweet tooth than I do.
Well, and also... protein cookies, healthy cookies have kind of been my go-to on the mountain when I'm snowboarding.
I was just going to say,
I like a snack on the tray because I'm like a little kid that you need to feed every few hours.
You do.
So it's like here you
I
need
think
a little
you'll love
snacky.
them.
Yes, I do.
Okay, let's move on. I'm drained. I'm just glad that
from rescuing your husband in the middle of the night. Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
And how did you go to sleep after that?
I think it was true because it didn't take long. I was so exhausted. It was
it was like an adrenaline
emotionally
crash.
Yes.
Yeah, that crash.
It's so funny you say that because when the adrenaline kicks in and I'm doing the life-saving techniques, I apparently did something in my tooth, and so it's all jacked up.
No.
I don't know if I hit it on him or what.
Like chipped?
I don't know what's happening.
Suze,
It feels
you're
funky.
Not close enough.
Does it seem weird?
I don't think so. I can't see it from this far away.
I'm convinced. I feel like Larry David. I'm convinced that there's something wrong.
If it feels funky, then yeah, there is. Because you'll feel something different. You did.
Yeah.
You should go get that checked out.
Okay. Thank you. Okay,
this has just turned into Sarah giving totally unsolicited medical and dental advice with zero qualifications.
I welcome it because I'm like, what is happening to my life right now? I'm out of control. Okay.
Oh, hey, glad it's finally not me who's the agent of chaos.
Truly. Okay, moving on.
Off.
I read this phenomenal essay. It's one of those ones where, I wish I could just read it to you, do a dry reading of just the whole article because it was phenomenal. But even just the bullet points, I think you'll enjoy. It was an article about hospitals in France that have chosen to include wine, high-quality wine, in their palliative care for people that are dying.
Oh, if you hear some whimpering
I
noises.
sure did.
Bo is snoring in the background. She's having a
I
little doggy
thought
drink.
you had a
She
ghost.
might have doggy sleep apnea.
Go give her the Heimlich.
Oh, you okay over there, little baby?
I mean,
Bo.
I thought you had a ghost.
Bo, honey. Bo.
This seems like she is doing what Adam did.
Bo. Bo. Oh my God. She was in a deep sleep. She just woke up and looked at me like, what?
What's happening?
Are you okay?
Oh my God.
Are you okay? Oh my God. Now she's stretching.
This is exactly what happened with me and
putting her
Adam.
head back, and now I'm mad at her.
Yes. We're
Okay. You know
they're
what?
fine. Yeah.
We couldn't have written this. This is insane. Bo, you know what? Once I hurt my knee and she started limping and I was like, I think she's doing like sympathy pains right now. So maybe she heard that and was like, oh, I'll give you a run. My heart. I thought she was dead. I thought maybe she was dying.
Yeah, your face looked like you really were like, this is it. This is go time.
That was so weird that just happened.
That really was.
After our conversation.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm having
Maybe
a
it was
moment
the
right now.
vibrational psychic happening. Where then you gave it to the dog. Like
I almost want to cry right now. I can't even, like, what is happening? I can't even, that was weird.
It was weird.
She did not, I was yelling. I think she's getting deaf.
Stop it. It's okay. It's okay. She's fine.
She's fine.
She's fine.
I can't, Susie, I'm so sorry for what you experienced the other night. You poor thing. I wish I could hug you.
No, for real.
Through the screen. No, you need, yeah, and Adam should apologize.
It was the most traumatic thing I've ever been through.
Susie!
I know it's funny now, but like at the time, it was so scary.
Oh my God. Oh my God, Suze, I'm so sorry.
Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome. I'm so sorry if I wasn't as empathetic as I need or understanding as I needed to be 4 minutes ago.
Everything's fine. Everything's fine, everyone.
My heart.
Okay.
Ah.
Any hoodles. In France.
Bo may be deaf.
They're offering high quality wine to people that are at the end of their life. And you would think the article would sort of just be saying, here's what we're doing, and it's nice for them. But it was so much more than that. So let me give you sort of like some of the highlights of it. So it's talking about how it segued into a conversation about the different kinds of pleasure. You know, like there's hedonic, you know, like pleasure for pleasure's sake. And then there's something called eudaimonic, which is kind of like what you would get from wine or food, where it's like it's pleasurable, and maybe some people would treat it hedonically, but that usually it just evokes memories and a sense of like your whole life, fulfillment about your life, because it's something you do regularly. And so it makes life meaningful.
I love that.
Yeah. And so doesn't it bother you how oftentimes with healthcare, you just don't do something because you just don't do it. Right? There's not like a real reason.
I was just running through that in my brain. I'm like, why don't they just let them?
For sure. You know, just give them, it's not to get them wasted. It's a tipple. It's just a little something to provide pleasure. And the people in the U.S. that they interviewed were like, well, our lawyers would never let us because what if they fell? And then,
God.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
This is so stupid.
So
they should just sign something. They should put a little clause in there that says, I allow this kind of treatment. For fuck's sake, all the meds that they give them have side effects that are like dizzy
that is a
and
great point.
There you go.
That
Stupid
is a
argument.
Very good point.
All those medications have those kind of side effects.
Yeah,
all those medications have
but
no
they're
idea what
fine
these
with
people
that.
are.
But that makes money for everybody.
Correct.
So,
I hate that.
Things
and
like
also, in my alcohol and drug studies class, I think it was that, or some class, maybe it's life cycles and aging. They were talking about how often appetite goes down when you are older. So having a little bit of wine, in a way, stimulates your appetite.
Yes, it does. Because they were naming like wine, chocolate, perfume, like things that like sensory experiences, you know?
Oh, gosh.
I know. I love that you're worked up. So like,
I am. Because
Wine?
I have an article that I'm going to talk about next episode that is going to piggyback on this, and it just makes me even more upset.
Yeah.
That they deny people this. That gives them meaning.
It gives life meaning. And wine in particular can light up the gray matter in ways that fulfill us on multiple levels. It seeps into our senses like the flavors and aromas, connects us to others, and gives us strength and comfort.
Oh.
And
strength and comfort. And you don't think you need those two things when you're like in hospice care or nearing the end of your life?
Yeah, and they're even doing what you just said, like where if a medication that they're taking is maybe not providing that much benefit, but its side effect is to decrease their palate so they don't really enjoy food, knock that off. So they take them off that medicine because it's not helping them enough, and then they can taste more, and it's not as useful. Like if the medicine's not useful, get them off of it.
Man.
Yeah. And it gives them normalcy and dignity.
We need to be able to experience those small moments of pleasure and meaning. It's kind of like when I had to sit inside with my mom, and I was talking about how I can understand how she goes to how when things like looking at a sunset are taken away, that you're like losing the things that bring meaning and give joy. So you're more likely to reach for quick fixes, like I'll have a glass of alcohol in a not productive way.
Right.
Or, binge on food, like eat more in order to try to get that same satisfying feeling that I think comes from all those pleasure centers being activated. Yes.
Yes. And like, that's what I
Dude.
loved about this article. It was in Popular Science, and it said how there's a difference between liking and wanting, and both have a purpose. So liking is like if you want red wine in the winter and a cold white wine in the summer, whereas wanting is about survival. So like that's more in tune with like I have to eat or have sex to procreate, things that continue survival.
Yeah.
But that the liking is just as important, because those things can, let's say you smell bread baking, that thing where you smell it and you're like, I just want some bread right now. So it's a combination of them where it's like the liking
turns into the stimulates the wanting.
Yeah.
Oh, this is fascinating.
Right. And it's like these people are at the end of their life. So if we can extend that by giving them the things that make them have a will to live and pleasure and well-being, why wouldn't we do that?
Why wouldn't we? That's exactly this. That's the where the meaning comes from. Yep. And this is kind of like what we were saying a couple weeks ago about we need to be looking at what brings meaning into life rather than what makes me happy, kind of thing. This is part of that.
Yeah, it's not all about just like, I'm laughing, this is fun. It can be more a deeper thing where you taste a sip of wine and it takes you back to when you met your spouse or a meal you had with your son or whatever.
Okay, and I would even imagine that, how he's like, if you don't use it, you lose it. In strengthening plasticity and neural connections in the brain, being able to stimulate memories and things like that, and like times of joy and those kind of things have got to be beneficial for the brain in like amazing ways. Well, in the same way we see when like people play music for people, or like people who are have dementia or Alzheimer's, and they sit in front of a piano and can just like and it helps. Come on, this is all connected.
It's soothing, right? And it's helpful to them. And why wouldn't we let that happen?
I love this.
Okay, let me take a break to talk about something else I really like, which is the service that Modern Fertility provides.
Oh, yes.
By letting you learn more about what's going on in your body.
Hello.
You can do a quick test where you send in your sample, and they will provide you all the information you need to understand whether you have reproductive red flags or maybe signs of PCOS, how many eggs you have. I think that's very empowering because people are waiting longer to decide whether they want a family, and that can give you the tools you need to make the right choice for you. But maybe my favorite part is how it's affordable, because if you did it at a doctor's office, it is not cheap.
It.
Yeah. So you can make the best decision for your life and, whether you want a family. Right now, Modern Fertility is offering our listeners $20 off the test when you go to modernfertility.com/braincandy. That means your test only costs $139 instead of the hundreds or thousands it could cost at the doctor's office. Get $20 off your fertility test when you go to modernfertility.com/braincandy, modernfertility.com/braincandy. Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful service. Okay. Anyway, I will post that in my close friends too, because I want to highlight some parts about that article. It was really, really, really good.
Great.
Okay, moving on.
That's fascinating. And anytime science and research is drink more wine.
I mean,
I'm for it.
Well, because I get that, in general, alcohol is a poison. That
Right, 100%.
It brings you some pleasure and stuff, but it's not great.
No.
But that's just assuming you're talking about the ingredients and how they affect your liver or something. But there's more to your body than just your liver.
Right. Totally.
Yeah. That all affect your longevity and well-being. Okay, moving on. I read this fascinating article. I put it a little bit of it in my close friends, but it was about the history of Nerf guns. My God, that was weird.
You know what? When I got back from Susie's house, people listening.
Yeah.
I opened my luggage, and I knew I was staying. I found 4 Nerf bullets.
Yeah.
In my luggage. Multiples in my pockets. It's oh yeah, I've been playing with Lincoln.
It's like glitter. It's glitter.
They're everywhere. And
it's the glitter of
I
childhood.
had definitely packed and repacked. That was an organized suitcase. Still found Nerf bullets in there. I can only imagine how many are around your house in random places.
It is a weird thing because we're not gun people. We're not those people that sort of promote gun culture. But, YouTube has sort of changed the game because, if you see them at the toy store, you might want one. But especially if you happen to see the grown men on YouTube that, talk about Nerf guns and say this feature and that feature. It's so weird, man. Yes, they're.
Oh goodness,
they
just want them to be real guns. Do you think?
I think some of them do, and some of them it's the slippery slope thing where they start with Nerf and then they learn more and more and more, and then they eventually. The article was saying they eventually start wanting to learn about real guns so that they can modify their Nerf guns to be more realistic, but then they kind of get interested in true gun culture. And how it actually is a gateway drug.
It is. Nerf is a gateway drug to being a firearms enthusiast.
But what I liked about the article, though, was that it provided some context for maybe some of the things we should think about. So, the Nerf guns are cartoonish. If you have a kid or if you've seen them, they're brightly colored. They're often not realistic at all. They're humongous and weird.
Yeah.
But then that's how they all were. But then after 9/11, it talked about how people
No way.
There's an actual historical moment.
A shift.
Yeah. Where people started being you know what? We kind of want the realistic ones.
No.
Yes, and they started developing this special op aesthetic, and then
my God,
right?
I feel I remember in a weird way a shift in there all of a sudden being way more that special op kind of thing.
Well, and that coincides with the internet too. I mean, let's not pretend this is just one variable.
Totally. Yes.
So then the internet as well, so you can watch these YouTube things. So in 2004 also, that's when in the U.S. ARs became legal. And so people started buying them in real life. And then wanting them to be mimicked.
For their kids to play with.
For their kids? Or maybe like not kids. Like a lot of these people that are into Nerfs now are not kids anymore. And they go to like these events.
This is not okay for me.
Tell me your feelings.
I just feel like it's the slippery slope thing.
Yeah.
And but then there's part of me that also thinks this is what happens when we are in a place of fear or terror, or that these are like natural, that there's a natural biological like urge to protect that I think this kind of plays into. And I think that urge is triggered by fear, alarm, terror. You know, I always go back to that book that we read, What Happened to You, where they talk about the different brain states and how the brain operates in alert, alarm, fear, and terror. The brain operates differently. Different places in the brain shut down. The IQ goes down, like, significantly. And I think when we are in those places, the more primal parts of the brain... I don't think this. Studies show that when this happens, the animalistic, more primal part of our brain comes online, and that part is the thing that I think is driving that culture. And I think when you pair that with the timeline of 9/11 and an increase in fear and terror, and I'm talking terror as a physiological feeling, like that's the different states. It's like calm, alert, alarm, fear, terror. That's how our brain, there is a different brain.
Where was I when Adam was dying, do you think?
Well, I can pull it up. I always keep it really handy. Because
Leave
I
it
talk
to
about
you. That's great.
Well, because I talk about this with clients all the time.
Yeah.
I can even can I share my screen in this?
Uh-huh.
You have to enable it. Yeah, I'll show you guys this. If you are watching, if you are a Patreon patron, then you can watch this along with us. And
I think
this is state-dependent brain functioning. Here we go.
Okay.
Calm, alert, alarm, fear, terror. So the dominant brain areas that go with each. So, and you can even see how, look at this, how our adaptive responses, the state, how we respond. We freeze, flight, or fight. You fought.
I was
you
already
were
in terror.
And look we're reflexive. So we're not just reacting. It's like a reflex. You had a reflex to save him.
Yeah. And look at how low my IQ was at that time.
So a functional IQ when we're in a calm state is between 100 and 120 average. Mm-hmm. When you are in a terror state, your functional IQ is between 60 and 80. That's almost cut in half. Okay?
Why is that? What is the
because
reason
your
for
brain
that?
This is so I love talking about this shit.
I'm glad
Woo,
you
it lights me up.
asked.
So it's the best. So because the amount of energy that it takes, the part of the brain, the outer layer of the brain, which is our most evolved part, the part that makes us human, that does all of our major processing. This is the part that's the last to evolve on a teenager, the prefrontal cortex, the one that is able to recognize context and understand analogies, all like the stuff that makes us really like human. That takes a lot of energy. That's expensive for the brain. So when the brain is in a state of terror, it shuts those parts down and it goes into survival mode. It goes into the part of the brain that keeps us alive. It doesn't use the parts of the brain that are for big concepts and big thinking. It's kind of like we're that gazelle being chased by a lion. While the gazelle is being chased by a lion, it doesn't go, I wonder what I'd like to eat today. No, it can't. It goes, I just have to fucking stay alive. So it diverts all of the energy away, all of the functioning away from those executive functioning parts of the brain and goes right into this is what you need to survive, and it's an adaptive like response, like this is how I'm going to, what I need to do in this moment, and that's all you actually can't.
There's no need for nuance.
No need for nuance.
Yeah.
That's why even our memory storage shuts down. The hippocampus shuts down. So that's why you have, when they ask people who have been through trauma or people who are sexual assault survivors what happened or try to put things in order. The part of the brain that puts things in order shuts down because it goes, you don't need to be remembering this right now. You need to be fucking staying alive. Or you need to be shutting down everything so you don't remember this because it's too traumatic.
Oh my God. That is so fascinating.
I live for this shit. And if we understand how our brains function, then we can be so empathetic and forgiving of ourselves. And you can look at that and go, well, now I know why I had that fear response. I know why I did that because my brain did all that. Now I know why I couldn't put together, what happened and what I should do. We can be so understanding and not like beat ourselves up about the things we do that are just reactive.
Yeah.
This is my favorite topic.
I'll tell you what I needed after I saved his life, which was a nice liquid IV.
Yeah. Oh, man. Those have been keeping me alive on the mountain.
Oh, that's a great idea. That's so smart.
Oh, gosh. I come home and it's 2 of those right away. You got to hydrate because you forget that you're like getting thirsty when it's super cold outside for some reason.
Yeah.
And you get dehydrated just as quickly, I think.
Well, lucky for Sarah, she's all set because we have liquid IV, which hydrates you 2 to 3 times more than just a plain old water. And it tastes way better, let's face it.
Better.
They're fantastic. It's a little pouch of powder that you can just put in your water. You can carry it in the car, in your purse, in your gym bag, whatever. And has tons of vitamins in it. It's so handy to have. Great for a hangover, too. If you're, like, not active and you're just more of a drinker, hey, it's still helpful. Grab Liquid IV in bulk nationwide at Costco, or you can get 25% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code CANDY at checkout. It's 25% off anything you order when you use promo code CANDY at liquidiv.com. Experience better hydration today at liquidiv.com. Promo code CANDY. My friend Leah uses them, and she just texted me the other day, tangerine is so good.
Oh, I haven't tried tangerine.
That is her favorite flavor right now.
Ooh.
So try it if you haven't had it. Yum, yum.
That mixed with a little vanilla protein powder could definitely taste like an orange.
Ooh, like a creamsicle.
Creamsicle.
Yes.
Yes.
I love where your head is.
I love it.
All right. Anyway, I don't even know what I was talking about, but let's move on.
Fear.
I can't believe I saved a life.
How Susie, I was just going to say that, how Susie saved Adam's life. That's what we were talking about.
Believe it or not, at religionnews.com, I read a great article, which, is very rare. It was about Britney Spears.
Oh. And
it was sort of analyzing the consequences of purity culture and how,
for sure,
especially in the 90s, there was this, what do they call those? Purity rings?
Oh, chastity promises or whatever.
Rings,
Promise rings.
Not
or
chastity,
purity rings.
You
know what I mean. Purity rings, promise rings.
Like the Jonas Brothers wore. And we were constantly asking pop stars about their sex life. It was so gross.
Female pop stars.
Specifically, yes. The Jonas Brothers volunteered that information, but we've only ever cared whether...
But I'm sure they were influenced a little to...
Well, they were in the Disney category, and Disney is very big into, like, making sure their stars are pure and, in the Disney brand. And I think that's all in their contract. I know.
Right.
So it was just talking about what happens when you put that kind of pressure on somebody. And they were explaining how the 80s and 90s, that's when it was the biggest, this sort of movement of, like, the good girl, and how it was in response to,
of course, the
sexual revolution, number one, and also the AIDS epidemic, and how much more important the idea of being pure was at that time as a result, especially, of course, amongst evangelical Christians. But that kind of bleeds into everything because they are mobilized and an important voting bloc, and anybody that's an important voting bloc has an exceptional amount of power. And so it was just this weird moment where we, like, put all this pressure. So let's say Britney. And then she's walking around maybe at the MTV Video Music Awards with the snake or in her little schoolgirl outfit or whatever. And we blamed her for sort of sexualizing young girls. But really, purity culture sexualizes them. It's like you say about the bikini top on a 2-year-old.
I was just going to say that. Thank you.
Yeah.
The bikini on a 3-year-old says that all of a sudden there's parts we need to cover up. That child is freaking 3.
Right. I thought of you.
God, put him in a diaper. That's it.
Right.
It's so stupid.
By saying we need to guard something, whether it's your virginity or these breasts that don't exist on a 2-year-old, you're including them in a sexual conversation that you needn't include them in.
Correct.
And she
makes me so mad.
This like archetype of the temptress. And she was no longer just like a woman or even a girl. She was somebody...
So that we can then almost be mad, like blame her.
Yes. Huh? She's not a person in her own right. She's a test. She's a test for the men. Can they handle this temptation? God. And like they limited her...
Even putting her with the snake.
Right. I mean, obviously that was an allusion
super
to...
symbolic.
Yeah, right.
Come on.
And...
Garden of Eden.
Right. Like that symbolism, in addition to the Freudian penis snake concept, as Sarah pointed out, references the fall of man, the temptation in the garden that we've placed on women.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. This is
infuriating. I know it's deep.
It's super deep.
And then like she loses her freedom, but then benefits the people financially that were keeping her in the cage, with her conservatorship. And like, by the way, as an aside, did you see the tweet where someone said like, so are we going to get a conservatorship for Kanye or is that just for women? Fair point.
Oh my. Well, I love the thing. I mean, not love. I hate the things he's doing, but I love that people are pointing out how this is very unhealthy behavior. Like this is... if anybody who wasn't Kanye West was doing this is like totally...
with that too, like
behavior.
Even with Kanye, where there's a lot of conversation about his mental health and his, the various diagnoses that he's, I guess, received or whatever. And I think he's open about it. Mm-hmm. And so some people are like, is this part of that? Is his behavior right now part of this mental health issue? Or is this performative because it's also great for headlines? That conversation never happened with Britney. It was never like, is she doing this for shock value?
You're so right.
It was like, that woman needs to be handled.
Lock her up. Like, put her in an institution.
Because have you heard any of these conversations where it's like, there's this question of whether he's doing it intentionally, like as
for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
That would never have happened. And
You're
didn't
so
happen
right.
With her.
You're so right.
Like, did she shave her head for headlines? No.
Right.
Everyone thought she needed
because
to
if
be...
Kanye West shaved his head and then attacked a paparazzi's car with an umbrella, people would be like, oh, it's Kanye being Kanye.
Well, because did you see where he dressed up as like, like in a bush, where they sell those for hunters and stuff, where you look like you're a bush?
Oh, no, I did not.
I forget what they're called, but like camouflage
like Bushman suits.
Yeah, they look like you're in the outdoors.
Yeah.
And he was outside of Kim's house, like...
No.
Yes.
That's fucking stalking.
Right. And people were just sort of like, that silly guy, instead of conservator type of conversation.
Jeez,
I'm just saying,
crazy.
We have different reactions.
We do.
Anyway.
I hate that.
So this said, the purity movement was never first and foremost about caring for adolescents, either their sexual or spiritual development. Instead, the movement was about power, about who controlled women's bodies and who benefited from that control. And that's why they mentioned the conservatorship as sort of an extension of that. Where she
a lot of people benefited from that control.
Of her body.
Of her body. Having control over.
Of her physical body.
Yeah.
I mean... It's fascinating, but it's really disturbing.
It's really disturbing. And, like, how easy it is for that to happen. And I was, like, perfectly designed for that.
Yeah.
For women.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on. I know. I'm all wound up.
That's fascinating, though.
There is a really cute project that a teacher thought up where she created a hotline that you can call, and you can get a pep talk from a kindergartner.
Oh, I want this on speed dial.
Why don't we try it right now? Let's see if it works.
Stop it. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Okay, let me
You have, why am I nervous? You have to do the talking.
I think it's a recording.
Oh, it's a
I think
recording.
it'll be like if you're stressed.
Oh, this is great.
I think
less pressure.
I think.
It's like, what if I say the wrong thing? What? Oh, maybe they need a pep talk.
Okay, let me find the phone number.
Oh my God.
And we'll give them a jingle.
This is the stinking cutest.
Okay.
Hi, welcome to Pep Talk, a public art project by Westside School. Bienvenidos a Pep Talk, un proyecto creado por los estudiantes de Westside School.
Para un mensaje feliz, presiona 5.
Please listen to the following options for encouraging messages. If you're feeling mad, frustrated, or nervous, press 1. If you needed words of encouragement and life advice, press 2. If you need a pep talk from kindergartners, press 3. If you need to hear kids laughing with delight, press 4. If you would like to make a donation to support this project, please...
When you're feeling mad, you should take 3 deep breaths and think of things that make you happy. The thing that makes me happy is when... And I think of happy things that will happen in the future, like going to a friend's house or a cousin's house. Bye.
If you're frustrated, just take 5 minutes off.
If you're frustrated, you can always go to your bedroom, punch a pillow or cry on it, and just go scream outside. If you're nervous, go get your wallet and spend it on ice cream and shoes. If you feel mad or frustrated, you can do what you want to do best, or you can do flips on the trampoline.
Well, if that isn't the cutest dang thing I've ever heard, I can't help. I can't help it. I cry. I'm crying.
Right. You're only human.
I'm only human. If you're nervous, you just get your wallet and you just spend it on ice cream and shoes. That's great life advice.
What a great situation. Come on.
And you know what? When you hear it from kids, I feel it. I'm like, yeah, what? If when you're mad, you just go in your bedroom and you punch a pillow or you cry about it.
It's so beautiful.
It's so cute. What a good idea.
Okay, so you guys can call. It's called Pep Talk, PEPTOC. And then it's 707-998-8410. And then you can also donate if you would like to contribute to their hotline fees. I just think this is really special.
This is really cute.
I mean,
Oh.
that's nice.
We need more of that.
Teachers don't make enough money. That's what I know.
Oh, ain't that the truth? And they are having a hard time. Let me tell you, we need to really help teachers out. Oh, it's so hard.
It makes me mad.
It makes me really mad. They're doing so much, and often they're doing way more than just teaching kids stuff in a book.
But I think often when you have a job that is primarily women, there's an expectation that job is just so fulfilling and you love it so much.
You're right.
That you don't need to be paid in correlation to how valuable you are.
Oh,
that's
it's
why
so
nurses,
backwards.
Teachers, all kinds of jobs that are mostly women.
Maybe therapists.
Maybe. Yeah, because it's seen as nurturing and it's something you just do naturally.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
No, I don't like it either.
So we salute you, teachers. But this one is just so cute.
So cute. What a great idea. Good for the kids, good for the people calling. That's wonderful.
I found that article on npr.org if you're interested. Okay, here I'm going to request for Sarah to have a theory.
Oh, well, I got that for you.
Okay. The question
Somebody wants my opinion on something? I'm in.
The question in this case involves our taste buds. So, okay. Sweetness, there is a clear evolutionary advantage in finding calories. That's why we taste and desire sweetness. Salt provides fluid balance. You know, we need a certain amount of salt. Bitterness can help us avoid poison and other dangerous things. And even umami can help you find protein because it's often found in protein sources. They cannot figure out why humans can taste the flavor sour, the taste of sourness. Sarah's got a theory.
I do. I think I'm reminded of a study that was done on extroversion and introversion, where they use a lime and they squeeze the lime on
I remember that you talked
your
about
tongue,
this.
and then you lick a piece of parchment paper, like that brown paper, and they can measure how much of a reaction you have to this. And I think in the same way that we like that, I think that it, for some people, gives a little boost of serotonin or dopamine because in a way it's almost like good painful. Mm-hmm. Almost like spicy.
Yeah, hurts so good.
Hurts so good. I think that maybe there was something about, because people who are introverts usually don't react as much to that. They don't have as high of a reaction, and they don't crave it as much. People who are extroverts do. So there's some sort of link between
I think you have the seed of something.
I think so too! Sarah's got a theory.
Because there has to be a reason.
There's a reason, and I think the only experiment that I know off the top of my head where we study a reaction to sour has a link to extroversion and personality.
So, okay. There's more to it, but I think you've got the seed. Because it does remind me...
Ooh, now I want to know what Brain Candy Brainiacs are going to do with this and how they're going to water that and make it grow.
Yeah, they can sort it out.
Yes.
Because my department in religious studies is very small. But when you're accepted, you are offered funding for your entire career. And so what that means is sometimes you have to be a TA for other departments. So I was a TA for psychology department for a period of time. And I had to, even though I don't know shit about it. And so I had to be the TA for this class about psychology. And they talked about that thing. I don't know what it is exactly, but that thing where like you would imagine that humans would want pleasure all the time. And that we would try to avoid pain or at minimum like make pleasure come faster. But as we all know sexually, that is not what we do. We kind of like where it's like almost for a longer time than you would have maybe guessed.
Delay of gratification maybe.
Yeah, where like the anticipation of pleasure is its own pleasure weirdly.
Yep, kind of like how the most exciting part of a trip is planning the trip.
For you.
No, studies show that people enjoy that if you look at happiness, you measure somebody's happiness.
I don't know about planning, but looking forward to maybe.
Yes.
It's coming. Okay.
The preparation, like the anticipation of the trip is more
or even
people
like a
enjoy
concert.
that more than the actual trip itself.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
So it seems like basing what you're saying in that same vein, it feels like maybe the sour thing could relate to that, where it's like the
I
pain
do think
of
that
it. Okay.
The same thing goes with nail biters and people who have trichotillomania and things like that. Because when you inflict just a little bit of pain on your body, it releases chemicals to make you feel better. So you get, in a way, addicted to the little release of serotonin and dopamine that you get from inflicting a little bit of pain on yourself. They're biting your nails.
I get that because I kept asking you, like, I need you to explain to me this cutting thing. I don't understand why people self-harm, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then you would try and you would say that this is what it does for some people is that, like, that sort of superficial pain can release those chemicals that bring you pleasure. Mm-hmm. But it's very hard for someone to understand if they don't have that thing. Mm-hmm. But I was having a real bad day recently, and I hit my hand, and it bled, and I was like, yeah, I like it.
Okay.
You know?
Isn't that weird? It's like a release of something, but that comes also with with a replacement feelings of guilt and shame when it's self-inflicted that are more extreme, and it's like you don't feel those until it's a cycle. Correct.
That's awful.
I know, and it's something that we don't really take seriously enough, I think.
Do you
kind of
think
look at it as something teenagers do, or like teenage girls, and it's very serious and very easily treatable.
Do you think the reason we don't take it seriously enough is because it usually isn't fatal? It's more, like I said, superficial.
Oh, gosh.
I mean,
I feel like
I don't want to make light of it.
Right. Because sometimes the intention is for it to be superficial, but
it isn't. I don't want to encourage. I'm just saying that maybe that's because that's the perception.
Correct.
People are like, well.
Right. And I think it's because of the population that's affected by it, really.
Right.
It's teenage girls. That's not all the time. That's not everyone, but the majority of it is that age group.
Yes. And I'm just connecting it. I mean, in this case, we're talking about something stupid, sour taste. But I think we can learn to understand the human brain a little more through stupid things sometimes.
Totally.
So that's why
it's all connected.
Insisted that you have a theory about this thing that you didn't know about until right now.
And I love giving my opinion on things that I
think you're onto something.
Little to nothing about. But
let's wind it down.
Yeah. Good talk.
Good talk. Good talk. I mean, not
we
as
learned
good as
how
last
Susie
episode,
saves lives.
Yeah, right. I'm a hero.
She is a hero.
Right. But I also think it's heroic to give dying people wine or whatever, aromatherapy, maybe a nice little piece of chocolate if they can eat solid food.
Yep.
At their end of their life, because what a beautiful thing.
Please. I mean, for goodness sakes. You're going to give them all the other meds that give them all these crazy symptoms.
You know how you're going to run my ghost Instagram account?
Yeah.
Okay, before that happens, make sure I get some nice stuff when I'm at the end of the line.
Sure. I'm going to put it in your IV. I'm going to be like, and then they're going to try to put Chardonnay in there. I'm going to be like, no, she doesn't like that.
Well, yeah, it's too buttery. Well,
it's too buttery.
Sometimes all it is like a few drops on their tongue. It is just to,
come on.
Yeah, it's to create that sensation. It's not a big whoop, people. Okay.
No big whoop.
How about how Nerf guns are like question mark?
Whoop.
Yeah,
a big whoop.
Maybe kind of a big whoop, or at least a reflection of things that are a big whoop. Because they were okay. I didn't even get to this part. We're not even winding it down now. This was
we always wind it up a little bit before we wind it down. It's kind of like that. One step forward, two steps back kind of thing.
One of the most important things that I wanted to remember to talk about that article was how it had pointed out how when even a play gun that has the orange thing that's required can still be a risk if held by a person of color, a child of color.
Absolutely correct.
And so there is a lot of privilege involved in being able to wield these like silly Nerf guns if they resemble the real thing.
Right.
Because for somebody that's high risk of being killed by a police officer.
Right.
So that's what I loved about the article is I thought we were just going to talk about silly Nerf guns. And then I'm like, oh, this is including context about privilege and
very important.
And history and 9/11 and blah, blah, blah. Okay.
I love it.
Anyway, back to the wind down. Brittany got totally screwed.
Yeah. Purity culture, man.
I do hope somebody, I don't know who is like helping her now, but like I hope somebody's maybe like consulting. Like here's how to be a person because she never got the full story because we were busy exploiting her for 20 years.
Somebody just needs to let Britney be Britney. Find out who she is.
Because I was reading like a tweet about how like
Britney needs a therapist. I'm available.
she does need one, and
I
like
could be a
how
great Britney Spears
even her
therapist.
fashion is kind of stuck in that
Yep.
low rider
Yep.
shorts and like the big puffy sleeves, and then
Yep.
like the perpetually
tops.
like a little bit sunburn. She always
Yeah.
has like a touch of sunburn on her cheeks, and it's just this sort of moment where you're like, who is maybe guiding her? I hope somebody.
Yeah.
And anyway, we got a pep talk from kindergartners. I feel better for it.
Oh my God, that was so stinking cute. Oh, remember the kindergartners?
And Sarah's got a theory about sour. That was good work.
It was. I feel like we learned a lot.
Good job, everybody.
We love you.
Leave a 5-star review, subscribe, and check out our patreon.com if you'd like to see the video version.
Yes. Yeah, because remember I pull up that, I go on a whole rant about the brain
There was a
state,
rant.
so you're going to need to see that.
You're going to need to see it. We'll see you next time, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.